Stand here 6,000 years ago, and you would not believe you were in the Sahara. Rain falls on green hills. A river cuts through grassland where today there is only sand. Herds of cattle move toward the water at dusk, driven by people who painted what they saw on the rock walls behind them. Hippos wallow in a lake so vast it would swallow entire modern countries. This is not a fantasy. Every detail of it is real, and we can prove it. And then, in the space of a human lifetime, or a few of them, all of it vanished. The grass died, the lake drained, the people walked away, and the greatest desert on earth was born. This is the story of how a living world turned to sand, why it happened, and the unsettling fact that it is going to happen again. The Sahara is the largest hot desert on the planet, roughly the size of the United States, and in most of it, almost nothing lives. So the first time archaeologists found the bones of hippos, crocodiles, and fish buried under the dunes, it made no sense. Hippos need deep, permanent water. Fish need rivers. None of that has existed here for thousands of years. But the evidence kept piling up. Fossilized lake beds, ancient river channels traced from satellites, and pollen from tropical plants preserved in the sediment, the signatures of a landscape that was not desert at all. Scientists gave the period a name, the African humid period. And it was not a brief freak wet spell. For roughly 6,000 years, from about 11,000 to 5,000 years ago, the Sahara was green grassland, woodland, and open water stretching across a region that is now one of the most hostile places on Earth. And it was not empty. In the sands of what is now Niger, at a site called Gobero, archaeologists uncovered something extraordinary. The oldest and largest Stone Age graveyard ever found in the Sahara. Around it lay the debris of a whole way of life, pottery decorated with wavy lines, and dozens of bonefish hooks and harpoons, some still stuck into the floor of a lake that dried up thousands of years ago. The people buried there, a culture we call the Kifian, were unusually tall, close to 2 meters, and they lived by spearing giant Nile perch in waters that no longer exist. This is the ground truth beneath the science. Not just a green Sahara, but a human one. People who fished, made pots, raised families, and buried their dead on the shore of a vanished lake. So what turns a desert into a garden? The answer is not something on Earth at all. It is the way the Earth moves through space. Our planet does not spin cleanly. Its axis slowly wobbles like a spinning top losing momentum, tracing a full circle roughly every 21,000 years. This wobble is called precession, and it changes when each hemisphere leans closest to the sun. 10,000 years ago, the northern hemisphere reached its closest point to the sun during summer, not winter. The difference sounds small on paper. Summer sunlight over North Africa was about 7% stronger than it is today. But that extra energy did something dramatic. It supercharged the West African monsoon and dragged the rain belt far to the north, hundreds of kilometers deeper into the continent than it reaches now. The desert did not get lucky. It was watered, on schedule, by the geometry of the solar system. And the rain built something almost impossible to imagine standing in the Sahara today. In the basin we now call Lake Chad, currently a shrinking, shallow remnant, the water rose into a freshwater sea. Geologists call it Lake Mega-Chad. At its peak, it covered around 360,000 square kilometers. Take a moment with that number. That is larger than the Caspian Sea. It was almost certainly the largest freshwater lake in Africa, and quite possibly the largest lake anywhere on Earth at the time. Its old shorelines are still visible from orbit, carved into terrain that has not seen standing water in millennia. Around and beyond it spread smaller lakes, rivers, and wetlands, a green corridor running across the continent. And that water was alive. Crocodiles and hippos crowded the shallows. Pythons moved through the reeds. Fish grew to enormous size. For the people on the shore, this was not a hostile frontier, it was abundance, a place where you could feed a family with a harpoon and a canoe. The Sahara was not just survivable, it was one of the richest landscapes in the ancient world. We know how rich, because the people who lived there left us a record. In the mountains of Tassili, Niger, in what is now southern Algeria, there is a gallery of over 15,000 paintings and engravings cut and painted onto the rock. The oldest images show the wild Sahara, giraffes, elephants, and antelope moving across savanna. The later ones, from the pastoral period of roughly 7,500 to 4,000 years ago, show something more intimate. Herds of cattle, people milking and herding, hunting with bows, camps with women and children. This is not myth. It is eyewitness testimony, painted by the last generations to live in a green Sahara. They recorded a functioning human world, and unknowingly, they recorded its final chapter. because the environment they were painting was already beginning to fail. Here is where the story turns, and where scientists still argue, because the Green Sahara did not just fade politely into desert. The evidence from one of the most famous studies, a core of ocean sediment off the coast of West Africa, measuring wind-blown dust, shows the dust exploding around 5,500 years ago. Read that way, the Sahara flipped from green to desert in as little as a century or two. A single feedback loop can explain it. As the first patches dried, the bare ground reflected more sunlight and threw up more dust, which suppressed rainfall, which dried more ground, a runaway collapse, feeding on itself. Imagine living through it, the rains arriving later each year, the lake pulling back from the shore your grandparents fished, the grass thinning until one summer it simply did not come back. For the people who painted those cattle on the rock, this was not an abstraction. It was the slow death of the only world they knew. But other scientists, looking at a lakebed in northern Chad, see a gentler decline spread over 2,000 years. The likely truth is that both are right. In different places, the Western Sahara may have crashed while the East drained slowly. Either way, the outcome was the same. The lakes emptied, the grass died, and the land turned into the sand sea we know today. If a world dying and being reborn on a cosmic clock is the kind of story you want more of, subscribe. This channel lives in deep time. The people did not vanish with the grass, they moved. As the Sahara dried, its inhabitants followed the water, and one river never failed them, the Nile. Over centuries, herders and farmers drifted eastward out of the collapsing green land toward the Nile Valley, concentrating into one of the most fertile strips on the continent. Many archaeologists now argue that this squeeze, a whole region's worth of people pushed into a single river corridor, helped set the stage for one of history's first great civilizations. The cattle, the customs, and the beliefs of the Green Sahara did not die in the sand. They were carried east, and they helped seed the world that would become ancient Egypt. The desert did not end that story, it started it. And now the part that should make you look at the Sahara differently. The wobble that greened it never stopped. Precession is a cycle, not a one-time accident. The same slow turning of the Earth's axis that filled Lake Megachad is still turning, which means that tens of thousands of years from now, the monsoon will climb north again, the rains will return, and the Sahara will very likely turn green once more. It has happened many times before, and on the clock of the solar system it will happen again. The desert you see is not permanent. It is one frame in a film that has been running for millions of years, a world that breathes in and out across time, almost too vast to feel. We tend to think of the Sahara as the definition of emptiness, a place where nothing has ever happened. But under those dunes lie fishhooks and graves, and the painted memories of people who watched a paradise turn to dust. 6,000 years ago, they watched their green world end. Somewhere in the deep future, long after everything we have built is gone, the rains will return, the lakes will fill, and no one we will ever know may watch a new Green Sahara begin again.